Imagine being bombarded for over 20 years by cometary impacts in your city. There wouldn't be much left. But it started relatively small, and mostly bombarded the ice shelves and the eastern seaboard of the Americas, many chunks falling into the Atlantic Ocean, causing tsunamis. But there was at one point a greater chunk that came through the atmosphere, the primary body of the comet, that finally penetrated the atmosphere and struck in the Atlantic Ocean, gouging out a crater in the ocean floor, and caused massive tsunamis in all directions, radiating out from the Atlantic, tsunamis at least 300 feet high. This is the obliteration, the final obliteration of the idea of Atlantis, cultures on the eastern seaboards of North, Central, and South America, tsunamis that struck the western seaboards of Europe and Africa and into the Mediterranean. And this is the beginning of your legendary flood of Noah. The idea also is that in those ancient times before the final destruction, since there were many cometary impacts, and since they could observe the master comet arcing through the sky before it ever hit, they understood by plotting its trajectory, and especially after some of the fragments began to impact the Earth, that their time was running out. Many of them fled into other areas to preserve their culture, their knowledge, their civilization, going into South America, going into some parts of Central America, going into parts of Africa, parts of Europe, and all the way into the beginnings of the culture that became Egypt, bringing their knowledge, bringing their technology, their architecture into the understanding of what it took to build the Great Pyramids in Egypt.